Gregg Wallace, aka the bald bloke from MasterChef, is the stereotypical cheeky chappy judge in the hundreds of episodes that have aired on the BBC's most popular cooking show. He's known for his somewhat creative commentary for food, especially pudding.
I find it quite pleasant. Left to my own devices, I'd probably munch the living daylights out of your little tart.
However, in November 2024, years of alleged behaviour saw his entire culinary world come collapsing in. Despite doing nothing technically illegal, he was met with allegations of inappropriate behaviour from 13 people over a 17-year period across 5 shows. In order to understand the full story of Gregg, we need to go back. Gregg was born on the 17th of October 1964 in Peckham, South London. He had a traumatic start to life, with his dad leaving the family and his mother having to work extremely hard to provide for him and his sibling. Gregg was also assaulted at the age of 8 by a babysitter's husband. In recent years, he reflected on this traumatic experience in association with a mental health charity. I didn't tell anybody at the time, but I did tell my mum when I was older, but she really didn't seem to want to know. I don't know how that affected me. I've never brought that up in therapy, so I've got no idea. It was quite a horrendous situation for a young boy. In school, Gregg found traditional learning difficult to engage with and left at the age of 15 without qualifications. After leaving school, Gregg started working as a warehouse salesman at Covent Garden Market. He would then sell vegetables in a stand. However, it wasn't until 1989, after being told it might be a good idea to start a business, that he opened George Allen's Greengrocers, a company that would bloom £7.5 million in turnover. Knowing a thing or two about vegetables, he was invited to co-present a show about vegetables on BBC Radio 4 that aired for 7 years. This led to presenting opportunities on TV, becoming the presenter of Saturday Kitchen and various other programs. However, in 2005, he became a co-presenter and judge on MasterChef, alongside John Torode. Since then, the pair have presented hundreds of episodes, creating a staple of culinary commentary. In fact, it was MasterChef where Gregg developed a certain unique quality to his feedback on the food, which basically made him into a meme. While he developed this cheeky chappy on-screen personality, it was during the first series of MasterChef where the first allegations of inappropriate behaviour surfaced, with a male staff member claiming that Wallace made sexually explicit remarks. And then, in 2011, journalist Kirsty Walk, who was a contestant on the show, reported Wallace for telling sexualized jokes during filming. Between 2012 and 2019, 3 more allegations were made about jokes and inappropriately touching, with the BBC issuing him a warning after they found his conduct unprofessional. In 2022, a letter was sent to the BBC outlining various allegations, supported by a union and whistleblower service. In regards to this, the BBC suggested individuals make their own direct complaints, which led to no further action at the time. And then in 2023, Gregg stepped down from his show Inside the Factory, after an incident at a Nestle factory which led to allegations of inappropriate conduct. In February 2024, Gregg solidified himself as a full-fledged Wally, after an article in a magazine about his day in the life was published. It detailed how he gets his local gym to open 30 minutes earlier than usual just for him, how he plays 3 hours of historical strategy games, and how he wasn't keen on having a child with his young wife. People across social media pointed out how the whole article was unintentionally like something Alan Partridge would say. Day in the life of Gregg Wallace: rise at 5 AM, behave like a pompous prat all day, remind yourself that your autistic son wasn't planned, but you're stuck with him now, so you will have to at least make an attempt to acknowledge his existence at some point. In bed by 8 PM. On the 28th of November 2024, as part of a BBC News investigation, it was revealed that 13 people across a wide range of shows over a 17-year period had allegations of inappropriate sexual comments. One of those 13 people is Kirsty Walk. She was one of the leading voices against Gregg, speaking in an interview to the BBC.
I was on Celebrity MasterChef in 2011, and it was pretty well a joyous experience. It was great fun, the team was fantastic, and the crew was fantastic. I would say one thing, and the one thing is that the fly in the ointment was Gregg Wallace. The first time that I suppose we were subjected to a kind of sexually inappropriate story was, it was very early morning, and we were in a retirement home, and the crew was in a room with the contestants, John Torode, and we were getting ready. We'd each been given a recipe that one of the residents was a favourite baking recipe, and that we were going to do our best to bake for them, and then they were going to come to the kitchen and they were going to judge it. And Gregg Wallace came in and launched into a soliloquy, essentially a story of a sort of sexually inappropriate nature about his, well, now former wife. And I was really shocked. I thought, what is this about? You know, I was angry because I thought, this is just not on. We were essentially a captive audience, and it wasn't as if it was anyone engaged with this. It was completely one-way traffic. But I think people were uncomfortable, and something that I really didn't expect to happen. I felt uncomfortable. I felt angry rather than anything else. You know, the thing is that, you know, my livelihood didn't depend on my being on MasterChef, but the livelihood of a lot of people in that program did. And it's a very insecure industry. It looks like a glamorous industry. It's an insecure industry. So you would have runners, producers, camera crew, executives, all with rents and mortgages and so forth. And I wonder if they just felt they couldn't speak out.
Another allegation against Gregg was that he told a junior female colleague that he wasn't wearing any boxer shorts underneath his jeans, and wandered into the studio naked apart from having a sock on his cock, and mimicking a sex act on a producer when she knelt down to clean his trousers. As the news unfolded throughout the day, the production company behind MasterChef, Banan J, launched an investigation into these complaints, stating, "We feel that it is appropriate to conduct an immediate external review to fully and impartially investigate. While this review is underway, Gregg Wallace will be stepping away from his role on MasterChef and is fully committed to operating throughout this process." On the same day as the allegations came into public consciousness, Gregg posted a video to Instagram in which he thanked people for their support.
I would like to thank all the people getting in touch, reaching out and showing their support. It's good of you. Thank you very much.
After this was posted, of all people, Rod Stewart commented on the situation. "So Gregg Wallace gets fired from MasterChef. Good riddance, Wallace. You humiliated my wife when she was on the show, but you had that bit cut out, didn't you? You're a tubby, bald-headed, ill-mannered bully. Karma got ya." Sir Rod Stewart. On the 1st of December, Gregg took to Instagram again, where he spoke out about the situation, and how it was a handful of middle-class women of a certain age.
Now, I've been doing MasterChef for 20 years. Amateur, celebrity and professional MasterChef. And I think in that time, I have worked with over 4,000 contestants of all different ages, all different backgrounds, all walks of life. And apparently now, I'm reading in the paper, there's been 13 complaints in that time. Now, in the newspaper, I can see the complaints coming from a handful of middle-class women of a certain age, just from Celebrity MasterChef. This isn't right. In 20 years, over 20 years of television, can you imagine how many women, female contestants on MasterChef, have made sexual remarks or sexual innuendo? Can you imagine?
Of course, this video didn't go down well in the slightest. The following day, on the 2nd of December, Gregg then published a video apologising for his comments.
I want to apologise for any offence that I caused with my post yesterday and any upset I may have caused to a lot of people. I wasn't in a good headspace when I posted it. I've been under a huge amount of stress, a lot of emotion, felt very alone, under siege yesterday when I posted it. It's obvious to me I need to take some time out now while this investigation is underway. I hope you understand, and I do hope that you will accept this apology.
On the 3rd of December, it was revealed that the BBC would be scrapping both its MasterChef Christmas specials as a result of the allegations, but would still air all of the episodes that had already been filmed as planned. This prompted a statement from Gregg's long-term friend and co-host John Torode. "Since last Friday, I've been away filming MasterChef overseas. I love my job and I love MasterChef. I love being part of it and will continue to be part of it. During the last few days, I've been trying to make the best cookery program, so being busy making the show and caring for our contestants has allowed me little time to think about anything else. The thought of anyone who has appeared on our show not having a brilliant experience is awful to hear, and I found the recent press reports truly upsetting, but as I hope everyone appreciates, there is an investigation underway, which I fully support. before, so I cannot make any further comment at this stage, and I hope that you all understand and respect my silence on the matter moving forward. The following day, on the 4th of December, new allegations came to light, this time from the ghostwriter of Gregg's 2012 autobiography, Shannon Kyle. In an interview with Newsnight, she said that Gregg sexually harassed her, answered the door only wearing a towel, which he later dropped, and also allegedly made her, quote, revolting and sickening suggestions and touched her inappropriately. Gregg's lawyers responded to this claim, stating, "Our client has denied that he has engaged in any such behaviour, and he specifically denies any sexual misconduct with Miss Kyle." As the days unfolded, everyone and anyone was coming out with stories about Gregg, from his ex-wife to fruit and veg sellers that had allegedly been fucked over by Gregg's old businesses. Anyone that remotely had beef with Gregg was coming out with pitchforks. However, Prue Leith, who is a judge on the Great British Bake Off, commented on the situation. "I don't believe people should be cancelled or sacked. I can see why you would ask somebody to step aside while they investigate things. I bet you Gregg has no idea what he's done wrong." If the story couldn't get any more peculiar, Gregg's close friends came out stating that they believe he displays all the classic symptoms of autism, including an inability to judge social situations and having a, quote, lighter filter on the subject of sex. One of the friends, who is also a therapist, claimed that Gregg has never been tested for autism. His friends also said that he may have a feeling of responsibility for passing autism onto his 4-year-old son, who is severely autistic and non-verbal. Richard Osman and Miranda Hyde, who both work within mainstream media, analysed Gregg's situation and discussed whether he could eventually come back.
There is a world in which in 6 months' time people will let that go, and because nothing illegal has happened and Gregg can come back. The second you come out and say no, I'm being persecuted, you do have to take your medicine here. He clearly, this is a pattern of behaviour over a very long time, and people from different shows and people from different levels on those different shows have said the same thing about it. It's clearly a personality quirk of his. It's clearly something that he needs to work through with somebody, and he has inflicted that on a production for years and years and years. But just go and get a bit of therapy and come back and do something else. But now this, going on Instagram and blaming the people who are complaining, that is sort of beyond the pale, and that makes it very, very, very difficult to come back from, and rightly so as well. One of his producers was saying, I keep saying to Gregg, you can't keep saying these things, and he goes, oh yeah, no, I get it, I do get it. And so you just come out and say, look, I'm an old-fashioned guy, I talk in a certain way, I sort of understand now that I shouldn't have done, I'm really sorry to everyone I hurt, but listen, I get it, I'll move on, I'll try and be different. And that's kind of, we live in a world where we can forgive.
Of what we're talking about.
For this level, exactly
what we're talking
that.
about currently, this is something that you potentially could manage. You and I recognise that a lot of these lines that he's being pulled up on, I think are sort of pre-written. They're pre-written lines. The mechanics of these shows, as we know, is that there's lots of waiting around, and Gregg will be in his dressing room. This is all speculation, but we know how these type of shows, you and I, work.
I wouldn't even call it speculation. There's no way this stuff is off the cuff.
It's off the cuff. It isn't. It's planned. And, someone comes in, one of the runners, and says, Katie's doing a lemon tart or whatever she's doing, and he'll be sitting there thinking of about 5 lines that will be good for this.
Gregg's culinary future is currently up in the air and under investigation, but it's once again opened up a wider discussion of power within these media corporations. If the allegations are true, we all know someone like Gregg in the workplace, who has so many David Brentisms they're not even aware. While what Gregg allegedly did is wrong, is this going back to years before, where cancel culture would treat non-criminals with the same venom as actual criminal behaviour? But it is interesting to witness in recent years how blokes who hold power within mainstream media are protected by these media institutions, some of whom, in the BBC's case, wouldn't exist without taxpayers' money. Thank you so much for watching this video, it really does mean a lot to me. Make sure to follow me on all of my socials at Phat Mima, like, subscribe, and comment below what you want to see next.